Hey y'all, welcome everybody. I'm just gonna give like 30 seconds here for the lobby to fill in. I know that we have a bunch of folks waiting that are trickling in now, so just want to give folks a minute to jump in, and we're so excited to kick off this conversation here in about 30 seconds. I think while you're jumping in, like let's get active in the chat. Tell us who you are, what organization you're with. Um, maybe let us know where you are in your consulting journey. We'll actually, we'll have a question about that early on here, but we're just going to get started in 2 seconds. All right. I think we're ready to go. Hello, hello, welcome. We are back with another one of our monthly sessions. My name's Bryan with Relatable Nonprofit, and today we are joined by a group of incredibly brilliant, talented, fearless special guests who have made the leap from their nonprofit careers into building successful coaching businesses. And ultimately, the goal for us here today, it's an opportunity for you to hear and learn. We want you to hear about the motions that they've gone through, the successes, the failures, the mindset shifts that have taken place. And I hope you know that this conversation is going to be really organic. So we want you to ask questions, jump in. If you want us to go deeper on a thread, let me know in the chat, and we'll make sure to bubble up your questions and areas that you want us to cover throughout the conversation today. But without further ado, Julia is going to give us just a little bit of a tee up and intro before we introduce our guest today.
Thanks, Brian. Hey guys, welcome. I am Julia Devine. I'm one of the co-founders of Relatable Nonprofit. You probably have also seen my other co-founder, Catalina, on LinkedIn. Today we're talking about how to go from burned out to booked out. Burnout is a huge term that we've heard in the media and on LinkedIn, especially in the last 2 years. And a lot of people are making that transition from full-time employee to consulting. So I made this transition, Bryan made this transition, and so did everyone else on the call, and we are really excited to share with you how we did it. So just a little agenda before we get started. We'll talk about the consulting journey, the evolution, and what most consultants experience and what that looked like for us. We're going to have our roundtable discussion, and then at the end, we'll share a little bit about how we help consultants level up their businesses to 300K or more a year. So I always like to start by calling out that there are a lot of stages of the consulting journey, but the three that we most typically see when people are starting with the Relatable Nonprofit program are dreamers, jugglers, and builders. And so if you're a dreamer, you're on this call right now, you're still working full-time inside a nonprofit, but you know that you're ready to consult. And for you guys, a lot of that pain point is going to be, how do I get started and where do I look for leads? How do I find people that want to work with me, right? Most people that I see nowadays are jugglers. So we've heard about like the side hustle. You might have a full-time job, you may be part-time consulting, and you're looking for a way to go all in. For you guys, it's going to be, how do I find enough consulting work to replace that full-time income, right? And then we have the builders. So maybe you have committed, you've gone all in, but you're trying to build something sustainable and scalable. And for you, it's really going to be about creating a consistent, reliable revenue stream to support you long term. So you don't feel like after a few months, I really need to go back and start applying for jobs again. So these are the three. We'd love to poll you guys. I don't know if we have an official poll or not.
We do.
We
We
do.
do. We're good
Great.
to go. Boom. Let us know where you're at. Oh,
I'm very
we've got
curious.
some builders in the house. Amazing. We have a healthy spread.
Fantastic.
Amazing. We have a really a healthy amount of folks that are off and running with their own consulting businesses. Bravo. Thanks for joining us today.
Fantastic. Great.
Awesome.
So with that, I'm going to introduce the panel. We have four members of the Relatable Nonprofit community here with us today. We have Amy Stevens, the Rovi Group, Kidus Solomon with Angel Fire Media, John Gattis with J. Gattis Consulting, and Jolene Teninty, Dynamic Synergy 360. And they have all graciously joined us today to share. I know each of these people personally. I know the extraordinary work they've been doing to build businesses, overcoming professional and personal challenges, and building something really meaningful and special to them. So I'm so happy that you all get the opportunity to hear from them today.
Amazing. Y'all, welcome. How's everyone feeling today? Amazing. 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 Thanks for joining us. Okay. So before we even dive into the conversation, I'm going to put you all on the spot. And I just want to do a really quick popcorn style, like, I'm just going to bubble up a couple myths about making the leap into nonprofit consulting. And any of you, in no particular order, if you feel compelled, the first to jump at the mic gets to answer, but help us dispel some myths here. So, myth one, you have to have it all figured out before you start.
Jolene,
Uh,
go.
Well, I mean, considering you leave organizations, you change jobs, whatever that reason be, you didn't have it figured out there, or they didn't have it figured out for you. Change is inevitable. So you change as you go. As you build, you still change, and you keep making that vision be the center, and you just keep applying it in any facet you can.
Amazing. You start where you are. It's always evolving no matter what. Nothing has to be perfect. Love it. You need a fancy, myth two, you need a fancy website, a logo, or even an LLC to get started.
False.
False.
I think I overthought this I still have these pockets of overthinking it. But no, I think that I personally have spent too much time and energy trying to build that out, rather than focus on building my network and building my client base. And I still struggle with that, looking at it, and I'll want to make a change, and it's really not the right time. So no, I think that the best thing that I could suggest is just getting started.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I can speak for myself. Like, I technically have a website, but like, I'm just a 1099 consultant. Like, still got to go get the LLC, and have like done it in stealth mode. So, yeah, like that really resonates with me personally. Let's tackle maybe like two more myths. Consultants make easy money. Okay, next one, next myth. Um,
John, did you want to say something there? Or you looked like maybe you did.
No, I had thoughts, but no, I think it's I'm still very much in the kind of just moved into the builder phase. So it's like I'm starting to see where all the work that I have been putting in the past few months or even years is allowing me to simplify and kind of streamline what I do. But it is not at no point is it easy money. I think maybe the descriptor I would use, maybe more efficient at some points, hopefully. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think like one thing I love to point out to people who are interested in consulting is you see a lot of stuff on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, about like passive income and building these side hustles that pay. And it's like such a joke. And so I do like to always like upfront be like, no, 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 it's still a job. It's a lot of work in a lot of ways, but it's different work than what you might have been doing professionally in a full-time job. And you have a lot of control over it. So if you really feel like you're at a stage in your career where you know you have the discipline and you have the drive to consistently show up every day, once you do build those revenue streams, it's not easy money, but it's yours. You own it in a way that you don't with a salary. So that's always my answer to that. But it is still work, everyone who thinks this is a passive income stream. It is not.
Yep, I like Melody's response. So you nailed it. Amazing. Maybe let's do one more myth. Talking about money and services and pricing makes you less of a fit for the nonprofit sector or decreases value from the impact you're making.
I can jump in on that one because I feel like I really struggled with kind of the having money conversations initially, or I was very much falling victim to that myth. But I found when I've been talking with department leaders or executive directors, they really appreciate just someone who can be candid, understand their value, who can kind of lay it out and doesn't tiptoe around that sort of thing. So I think that I totally understand that myth, but it's something to
Yeah.
Kidus, did you have something there as well?
Yeah, I would echo what John said. People prefer knowing or being able to communicate about money but they want you to start that conversation, in my experience. And I think once you get over one challenge is like whenever you like if you're just trying to get these clients and that's your main source of income, there's like a high risk and you're just trying to make the sale. But once you're a little bit past that, it's much easier to bring it up, and then it's talking about what the value is for them and sort of divorcing it from what you feel it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Someone
Mm-hmm.
told us a long time ago, Catalina and I used to struggle with this so much, just like even, and I was saying yesterday to you guys, I still know active consultants who struggle to invoice for their work after the fact because they feel bad taking money from the organizations that they're working for. But we did hear this from someone once that selling is helping, and you need to think about it that way, that if you have a service that you can provide that you truly believe in and you believe that it's going to help these organizations who maybe struggle to have full-time employees because they have, they can't afford overhead or they can't afford full-time people around the year round, you can come in, you can provide an excellent service for them at a competitive price to someone, instead of bringing someone full-time. So selling is helping. And when you're thinking about it and how can
Mm-hmm.
you help them, then the price tag is just besides the point. That's just an exchange. So that really did help us change our mindset around that because we struggled with that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I love that. And there's some nice comments here around. It sounds like folks are struggling with, you have a wealth of knowledge, you have a wealth of experience, and you're having trouble figuring out what to charge. We're going to probably spend 10 minutes of this call like digging deep on pricing models. So like we're really excited to like dig into that. So I just want to put a pin and let you know that we're 100% gonna go there. Okay, thanks for humoring me with a little bit of like popcorn style. That was really fun. If anyone has any other lingering myths, we're happy to attack them. Uh, but let's get the conversation started. I think like as we dive in deeper, I would love for everyone that's here just to like get a sense of where you started. So I think Jolene, if you want to kick us off, what helped you get clarity in the beginning on, clarifying what your services were going to be and what kind of nonprofits you wanted to work with?
Oh, this is great. Julie and I just had, and I see in the comments too, the pricing, where to start with it. The sale is helping, all of that. Um, it's just amazing how much each company has their mission and their vision. And when you're building something in consulting, a lot of times you have to keep going back to that. What was your bottom line? What made you start this? And so Julie and I just had this conversation recently because I had worked through 2 betas as a volunteer with
Mm,
a couple nonprofits, and the work that I did was getting back to their why. And in that, I looked at the hours and the time and building the resources for them, and then what they needed out of it. Um, and so all of these little pieces came to a point, and I said that price point's way too high. Especially working with smaller nonprofits, and it really was. And so we circled back around on a one-on-one call and looked at a different perspective, but never did I change what my mission was going to be, what my vision
mm,
was, what my center of that mind map looked like, and just bringing that back. So we're going to try a different model, and we're going to do a little different, maybe group rollout, and look at pain points people have. And for dynamic synergy 360, we look at identifying strengths and enhancing personal wellness profiles. So that way the individual can leverage their top skills and then change their course away from that ultimate burnout, which is probably the key words for being on this call. But then for the organization level, the team level, that's going to build stronger teams, improve flow, processes, training, so you get to that thrive and grow perspective for the entire organization. So individual to organizational level. But things change. Be ready to change with it. And I think that that's one of the key points is pricing, sales, marketing, change with it, learn something new.
Amazing. Anybody else have kind of clarifying moments on, like what helped you focus in on how to take your experience and fit it into like a niche or a service?
For me, I can share. Oh, sorry. Just go ahead.
No, you go first.
Okay, thanks. So my Gattis Consulting, I work with small, medium arts education nonprofits on their fundraising operation systems. And so I've been doing this kind of work for a couple of years in some full-time positions, a little bit of moonlighting on the side. And I realized when working, especially with the smaller organizations, that there was this real need for a level of knowledge and experience that they often couldn't afford in a full-time employee. And actually, the way I came to the Relatable Nonprofit program was I heard Catalina on a podcast and talking about fractional consulting. And I had never really heard that term. And I started looking into it, looking into the program more, and I realized, this is the framework of I want to provide this service that is really needed that you don't necessarily need a full-time person for. And I've seen a lot of organizations struggle with hiring someone who's not really doesn't have the skills to perform the role because they can't really, afford to hire someone who's a little more senior, but they also don't need someone 40 hours a week. So I've been surprised at how receptive these smaller organizations are to kind of this more flexible fractional model, and that's been very, very helpful, I think.
That's great. Amelia just asked, how narrowly do you all market yourselves? She's saying that she can do a lot of things really well, but she worries that the sort of the breadth or span of what she can offer can be confusing. Like, how do you create that focus for yourselves?
It makes me, yeah. Everyone knows I yell about this all the time, right? Don't do too much. You know how to do everything, right? Because you're nonprofit professionals who've worn all the hats. You know how to do marketing, you know how to do sales, you know how to do fundraising, you know all the pieces because you've been probably put in those positions, whether that was your job title or not. And consultants then think they have to offer it. And I always show everyone the chart of what Catalina and I offered that first year. And we made like 3 columns on our website with 32 services. And it completely diluted our ability to market ourselves because no one knew what we did. So I'm always hammering away at picking the niche. You don't have to marry it, right? But the more you niche down, the more you have a unique value proposition, it's always going to be better because people will understand how to refer to you. Like, oh, John, he does fundraising for arts nonprofits. So that right there is what he does. I know if I come across an arts nonprofit, I'm sending it to John. So, Amy, I looked like you were gonna jump in on.
So I started really broad, and I think only in the past, 8 weeks have I really kind of changed the focus because I was so anxious to, and full disclosure, I came from a for-profit background for over 2 decades with heavy on the volunteer strategic advisory kind of advisory roles for nonprofits, and then made the conscious decision to kind of go into the nonprofit consulting space. So I really started really broad because I was leaving a salary and kind of making the leap of faith. And having done all this in previous corporate roles, thought I could, win at doing that when everyone else told me not to do it. I'm like, this makes sense. This way I can build a client base. And I found myself not enjoying necessarily what direction that I wanted to go, which was really kind of now the HR people ops consulting, and especially with so much transition happening and staff shortages and all that. So I really flooded myself, and I was not articulating well in how I would speak to my services. And I felt like that wasn't doing me any, it was doing me more harm than good, because it just sounded like, send me anything that you need me to do. And then that didn't align really well with pricing because I started doing more volunteer work to be able to prove myself. So it kind of, Julia got many calls over this. John got some calls, I think. Jolene got calls. So I think that it's hard to say no, but really kind of sitting with, and consulting, you can really decide on what you enjoy doing the most, what really kind of fuels you. At least for myself, I feel like that really kind of sitting with that. And the HR people ops side was something that I wanted to step away from a little bit, just based on the last decade of work I was doing. But I have come to realize that it's really like the strongest services I can offer, and where I can drive the most impact for nonprofits. So that's how. But it's still, I still question it. I still wonder if I'm missing something. If someone needed something, could I maybe do it for them and not do it for someone else? So I think it's really just kind of honing in on what you really enjoy doing and building from there. Because you can really make this anything that you want it to be.
Yeah. And this connects to like something someone said earlier. I'm kind of scrolling up in the chat to try to find it. But there was a comment about like, I have so many yeses out there that are really broad, and I'm in trouble if like all of them come through. And I think kind of to speak to that, kind of like going in really focused or going in really broad, like I've definitely had seasons where I've made that mistake and I've just said yes to everything in order to sort of like capture the opportunity or the abundance. And I think the learning for me through that was it wasn't just about, I like what you said at the end, Amy. Like it wasn't just about narrowing my service. Like I think it was something more holistic than that, because it also, like some of those engagements gave me signals around like, ooh, like this is really taxing for me. Like this is out of alignment with what actually fills my cup and brings me joy and aligns to the impact and value that I want to bring. So now, because I said yes to something and that was the experience, I have at least, because I'm going and because I started, I now have more data that I can use to say, like I know what's on and what's off when it comes to terms to working with someone, which has been really helpful and powerful.
Yes, because I have a successful sales background as in account management, and also doing as a volunteer fundraising, and I have gotten a couple of offers, couple requests to do fund development, and it is something that I would do probably 2 months ago. I would have said yes to it, but the times that I did say yes, I had those moments of, oh, this is going to be, did I say, should I not have? And really, really doing it for the yes, and being able to show worth and show, assisting a nonprofit, but it doesn't fill the cup, right? There's an element of all of it's working is stressful and building is stressful, but there's that element of stress that, gosh, maybe I oversold on this a little bit, and it's not quite as comfortable for me in this grand picture for the client.
Yeah, really helpful, insightful. One other thing that I want to extract from.
Sorry, Kidus looked like he wanted to share. I just wanted to make sure he got a chance.
Oh, I was just briefly. The one thing that has helped me, because I did struggle with doing too many things for too many people, was like to at least select one thing, even if you are good at lots of different things, is try to spot patterns with the people in your network. Because what's always brought me clients is relationships with like a community of people, and trying to identify what is the most common need among them, and then at least starting out with that, focusing your messaging and your marketing on that service, and then like adding value by offering other services to those same people. I find it like easier to grow with the same clients. If they like one service, they will likely hire you for other things as well. But to at least start out, it's better to narrow it down and then how you select what to narrow it down for me has been like what pattern do you notice within the network of people that you're able to market to, and then uh, always doing the building community as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
on the
love.
flip side of that, having this group, knowing what each other does, and I see Beth just asked that question too, what does everybody offer? But if you feel knees deep, call someone in the group.
Mhm.
Call Julia. She'll refer you to somebody. Get those tips, get that advice. I know a few of us here have leaned on each other and others as well in the mentorship. A few of us have different collaborations. And it's just amazing when you could come together, and it's not even who to market to, it's who to collaborate with too, right? And then their
Mm-hmm.
network comes into that. And like Kidus said, it grows, but then your skills grow too by helping each other.
I think Jolene and John both have success stories. We've been doing the challenge this last month and network. And so the challenge I've been running in the community was just reach out to 3 people a day for 30 days. And we're on like week 5 of 6, right? So everyone's like really running out of steam. You've reached out to all your contacts like twice now. But I think Jolene, you had a great conversation with someone who gave you a list of like a dozen or two nonprofits to reach out to. And then John, I believe it was just right place, right time. You landed a client. Was that correct?
Yes, I just signed someone. I've already started with them, signed them like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was just totally just perfect timing. Just the email that I sent trying to reconnect with someone was like, oh, actually, yes. So
Yeah, it's fantastic. So it's organic. People ask us all the time, do I need to run Facebook ads? Do I need to run LinkedIn ads? Do I need to and there's a place for ads, and we run ads. Like, ads are cool, and they're very helpful. But when you start and you're bootstrapping it, the network is really going to be everything to you. And even if you have a really small one right now, Catalina and I did not know many people. We knew each other. And we're like, oh, I guess we have to go meet people. Some people have fantastic networks, and that makes it all easier. So, but networking really is key.
Yeah, and I think this thread really connects powerfully to. This could even be like one of the myths that we could dispel. And Aria, you had made a comment about like having some hesitation or fear because it feels like there's so many consultants right now, and I think it's this fear over like competition versus community. And I love what everyone shared around like nonprofit consultants are a community in and of themselves. And like I can't tell you how many times another consultant has actually pulled me into something because I could provide value for something that they couldn't. And like in seeing the ways that the relatable nonprofit community supports each other, shares RFPs, opens opportunity for each other is really, really powerful. So it's something that's incredible to watch. And I think it shows like the generosity that's on display in our sector as a whole. And it's like another layer of impact that I personally see day in and day out, which I love. Yeah, John.
oh, could I also just add, because I saw Arya's question, I felt very similarly myself. I was kind of worried about, but in my experience is solely with small organizations. I've never worked somewhere with more than 40, 50 employees, like more than $10 million budget. But in the smaller end of things, at least in the arts world, the institutional knowledge, the lack of it is already such a critical problem I see. And I actually feel, contrary to my fears and what you expressed there, is the work that I do now is helping organizations to be able to build up that knowledge themselves, to be able to track things, to be able to build systems. So I totally was kind of concerned about that in a way too, but I found that I'm actually much more of the solution than I could have ever expected. But again, may only really be applicable for smaller orgs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I actually real quick.
oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Real quick, someone had asked, like, I just want to give everyone the chance to bubble up. Like, what is your service focus area? Kadu, do you want to kick us off just real quick, just to give everybody context?
Sure. I do I started out with like video production, video ads. Now I do like marketing, like social media marketing as well as email fundraising. And then I separated one of the benefits like after joining Relatable Nonprofit was like I had too many things on my website, but I did have clients. But to be able to get more, I needed to be able to like refine it. So I just created like a separate brand for the different sets of services. And the other one is like IT and building automation systems. So those are my areas.
John, you shared a little bit just
Oh,
now,
sure.
but
Oh, yeah. So mostly it's working kind of similar to Kidus there. IT setting up and converting CRM donor databases, kind of helping with tech stacks, helping development and finance talk to each other for smaller orgs.
Amy?
Mine is really strategy growth planning, helping to identify gaps and can help sustainability.
And Jolene?
I know I had talked a little bit about it before, taking the holistic lens and really approaching the individual to find their strengths, but not just in business or skills or talents, but also in wellness. I think the wellness profile being at the center is very important for us to get where we need to go.
Awesome. Super helpful. Sorry I didn't do that at the beginning. Thanks, everybody. Okay, I want to make a transition and pivot into like real quick. I kind of want to blend talking about like how you're finding clients and also kind of dovetail that with your different approaches to pricing your services. So, you know, what's been most helpful? I'm going to go back to you, Kidus. Like, what's been most helpful for like attracting and finding customers?
Um, building like relationships, like going I started out, so I didn't like start out with a job. Like I started in college, so I was just like volunteering because I didn't have, because I could fall back on just being a student. But I was volunteering with lots of different organizations, and I started building lots of relationships. And so far all my like significant clients have come uh from people that I knew, either referrals or people over time, like coming back from a project. And I started out with video production and ads, but it's expanded since then. Lately, what's helped is also building relationships with consultants. So some consultants who are like might be more established and have like a set of services that they've refined, but they want to add like what I would do is like, hey, you can add like this set of services and I can be your subcontractor. And like if they're not offering that service, so it's not a competition. So they can be like, hey, this is the person I work with. They can get a percentage. And that's, it's important to like have a good working relationship and trust before doing that. But I think that like sharing the workload or sharing the networking part has made that easier. So far, like I've gotten a few clients from partnering with a couple of consultants in the past few months.
Fantastic. Amy, I know you sort of went the volunteer path too, and then
Mine is really from volunteering while still working for profit. So just doing volunteer work and strategic planning for other organizations and advisory for boards. So I have two clients from those experiences, and then referrals from them. I will say, someone had asked about the consultants and the sheer volume of consultants. It is something that has, and again, probably everyone on the panel that I've talked to know this. It's something that I struggled with. The intimidation of that was really difficult for me for a long time. I'm not someone who, and we'll probably get into marketing also, is going to do a bunch of posts. It doesn't feel organic for me. It feels very difficult for me. I'm a relationship builder through and through. I would much rather have a conversation or meet someone and build that way. So I've struggled a lot with that, trying to navigate the LinkedIn journey and the buzzwords and all these things. That it's just not me. I feel, if we talk about imposter syndrome, I feel like an imposter doing that. For me, strategy, and because I have, you know, years of, 3 decades of work at this point, strategy was planning 25 years ago. So all these things, and I kind of had to get over that for myself and speak to it how I thought would be more relatable for the clients that I was working with. And that has seemed to help, just being authentic, meeting the client where they're at and being the person that I am. I think that has been probably the best way for me to build the client base that I have at this
So
point.
it's actually referrals through clients.
Referrals through clients.
Crazy, which is very, very cool, because how great do they think you are that they're willing to, put their name on
It's
the
very,
line
it's a
for you?
huge compliment. And pricing along with that. So the pricing part is where I struggle, because I do really, I probably do not do a great job of setting consistent pricing. And that's something that in 2026, I'm hoping to work on. And it's not that, and I know the value of the work for the client. I think I still struggle with that a bit for myself. And I want to keep them coming. I don't want to be overwhelming. And I feel like right now also we're there's a lot with funding and all those things. So my pricing is not, probably not, I probably couldn't give much good advice on that one, at this point.
That's your goal for 2026. We're going
2026 is the goal.
Has anyone else here like landed on a really firm pricing model that works? Could you share a bit?
No.
Maybe no.
like Kidus?
Again, like we said, you don't have to have it all figured out.
So I don't know, like if this, how much this applies to like consulting. There's the the part where you're building out and developing like strategy and advice. I do more of the like almost more like an agency where like they have projects. So for video production, it's pretty. Do you want me to share like typically what I would structure it is like a range. So for like it starts out for like a basic video, I'd do like 4,000 to 6,000, and then go from there if, depending on how much they want. But then for like if they want like ongoing social media and digital marketing support or event marketing, that I'll do on a monthly retainer basis, starting out for like 2,500 for email fundraising, and then adding like social media ads to that for 1,000, and so on. And it just depends on how much of it is like how much work is required for that client. That's the starting rate that I would share if people ask.
Yeah, that's great. So you've come up with like project and different service lines that could essentially be bundled and combined together to create larger retainers that honor your value and time and also provide value back to the nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, did you have something to add?
Just that I feel like in my experience, um, I sort of struggle sometimes with there are certain things for me that I enjoy doing. Like most people don't like working with databases. That's not fun. And I've also been really fortunate to be involved in several like big conversions or setting up databases in different systems. So I have a lot of experience with that. And so I often forget that something that is going to take me, a couple of hours, it's because I have this unique experience, and just pricing myself accordingly to that, not necessarily based on the effort I'm making, but how rare the knowledge I have is. And I've found that to be like a useful reframe.
I think that is very important for everyone on the call, is that we have this assumption that we all make that like, oh, everyone knows how to do that. Like it's not valuable. Like, and everyone knows how to do database. Everyone knows how to do video. Everyone knows how to do strategy. Everyone knows, no, like and I always like to share with people that in my first year as a consultant, one of the highest return or ROI activities that I did was writing handwritten thank you notes to donors for one of our clients, because this was just something they could not get to, was consistently falling off, and our rate at the time was $100 an hour. And that's what I was getting paid to handwrite thank you postcards to donors, which someone will be like, well, anyone could do that. Why would they pay you $100 an hour to do that? But for them, money, time, like it just made sense for them. So we like to complicate our services to make it worth the money. But something as simple as sitting there and saying, thank you, Mr. Smith, for your $25 or whatever donation was really worth it to them. So just keep that in mind. You all have skills, and no, not everyone can do those things. Or maybe everyone can, but still you're the smart person that came up with how to monetize that. So something to keep in mind.
I don't remember what it's called, but Ashley, you were talking about pricing and um, commission structure and everything. Well, there are several companies out there that do employee surveys, nonprofit retention, all of that yearly. Some of them do it quarterly, even, especially the beginning of this year with the grant transitions and all of that going on. You know, a lot of people onshore being forced out of the sector, leaving the sector, coming into consulting, whatever it may have been for their path. But when you look at all of that, you know, it's your experience and proven success is definitely something that gets paid for. You know, each of us have commented on something that we're strong in, we're weak in. You see us shaking our heads, nodding our heads, you know, and this is where this community, especially, you can rely on each other, lean on each other. Refer each other and work with each other on that payment portion, on a referral fee, whatever it might be, and then getting giving without being paid up front. We never talk about that. You do get paid. You choose to volunteer, that's on you. But there are all those little facets too that I think pretty consistently someone is in the chat and discussing on a call discussing. I think we all always round out to that. How are we going to make it? Are we going to break it before we make it? Where did our savings go? You know, I think that is a huge pain point in making these decisions. But there's so many. There's some advice in the chat features too. I see Steve. He's given a great
Great
model.
advice.
Yeah, and I think that is just one big huge piece of the puzzle is to test it out, to watch those surveys, watch those reports, ask other people what they're doing. A roundtable like this is an excellent place to just listen and learn.
Jolene, could you just share, because I know we had just such a wonderful conversation a few weeks ago, and you had, you know, not to go too much into detail about your full-time job, but I know it was something that like was emotionally the shift for you was really important. I don't know if you want to speak to that because I know there's a lot of people on this call that are on this call because they're like they're at the last straw with their job and they just know they need to make a change. How did that transition feel for you when you finally left?
Amazing. I believe our one-on-one was like, wow, what happened? Um, I was struggling with stress and you know, when you can make a decision for yourself, nobody's going to make a decision for you. And I read that essentialism book, I believe it was in, and that's actually been a core of the past year journey for me, and really making hardcore decisions. As a matter of fact, I just recorded something today, and that was I've had a 20-year cycle of health problems and everything, and this past year was getting it really under control, but then also stepping out and learning, how do I want to help people? um Nonprofit work, you know, I think everywhere you go you reach a burnout, it doesn't matter, right? But nonprofit, we see that resource management piece, and right now in the age of technology, you know, you look at Kidus and John and what they're doing. I've seen where people want the donor management CRM systems, but really you need like a data in person and a data out person. You know, oh, the system's not working for me. No, the system isn't the problem. You don't have the resources and the right alignment. And so That's where I put that holistic piece at the center of what I'm doing because it's so important to me. I've lost a lot of weight. I've been able to put my schedule to me, get a little selfish. And then you can see your purpose and you can see your vision and you can really just thrive in that. Amy and I worked on and they're branding exercises. We throw the word brand around like stupidly. I saw somebody talk about marketing lingo, right? And marketing lingo is, we use the word brand all the time, but get to your why on your personal level first. And Amy and I talked through some of that for her for a few things. And that's where I started with some beta customers because it was important for them to get back to their why. Why are you here? Why were you doing this? And the whole realization was I was way off my why. And
Mm,
so now I'm on my why and I'm good. So
We're so proud of
I
you.
love
it's
that.
been interesting. Thank you.
So good. I'm curious, like, has anyone else, like, what other kind of like personal transformations have you experienced as a result of making this leap?
I can share if no one else. I mean, I was able to have a baby and go on maternity leave. And because Catalina and I worked closely together, I was able to take that time and I didn't have to tell a boss where I was going. And I was able to pay myself the entire time because we'd planned for it. And I was able to come back. My business was still there. And that was because of, 3 or 4 years in the making of building something with my close friend. And she had gone on maternity leave in our first year. And for women my age, our generation, like you hear that like it's hard to have children because of all of these things that you have to work or daycare and the way that I've been able to structure my week, time blocking, I always tell you guys, changed my life. I block in my walk every morning now with my baby, which is a lot harder than going by yourself. But I'm also able to just be around for my baby a lot more than I thought I would be able to as a working mom because I'm able to work from home, I'm able to set my hours, I'm able to build a schedule that works for me so that I don't have to have them in full-time daycare. And I know that so many women who join the program talk about that and have shared like, oh, I've been able to pull my kids out of daycare because I'm home more and I'm not having to commute as much or whatever it is. So I know that's not everyone's experience, but for me, after working 4 years to build a business and be able to do that, that was like a very proud moment for me, not just as a mom, but like, wow, I, in a little way, you're able to not have it all, but I was able to keep my business, have my baby, and feel really not stressed. And today, I think stress is just like a killer, and we all feel that in so many ways. So that was my win was that was what I know my full-time job as a development director in DC, $7 million budget I was raising money for. I know that I would have been not taking a 3-month maternity leave at all. So um that's my win for this year.
Yeah, I think definitely scale, having worked the 60, 70-hour weeks and work the day after, my second child was born, which I, am ashamed to admit, but, we do those things. I think that for me, one starting middle school and one ending her, um, go almost towards the end of her elementary, I think that's been it. This gives back some time and their activities and their sports it's much more time consuming than it was when they were going to daycare or they were just starting off and in school and making the call. And even though I was in a VP role and had worked remote, I still, every time I had a call to say someone threw up or I have to go get someone from school or this happened, was terrible. It was just so draining. And I didn't, walking out, working remote and then walking right out of, the home office to the family. And it was just a lot. And this isn't 60 or 70 hours a week. I do put in a lot of time into it. but it feels differently at this point. And that's been the win for me, is that it's my own. And yes, I miss my income. I mean, this is something that I really have struggled with in the past year, is letting go of an income. And I'm grateful for a partner who, has supported this journey, and hope both girls get scholarships. But right, I mean, that's like, oh my goodness. But I think that that's part of it, is that, it's my own. So I put into it, and the, feeling, less than motivated or getting intimidated by looking at LinkedIn, or then thinking, I didn't write that, I should have wrote that, I should have, what are people, no one's liked it. That's all on me. It's not someone else making me feel that. So I feel like I can control that better with myself at this point.
Well, I think you control your production line too.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
not
Right.
you could bring it down to four areas of processes. We did that not too long ago. You can write your processes. You look at things on a smaller level, but you control what you want to offer, you control what you want to learn, you control where you want to put things, market things. I don't want to talk to anyone this month. You can almost do that, right? Almost, not quite, but almost.
Right.
And that piece of the puzzle, I think it's more rewarding than a title or anything else. And yeah, the income's nice, whatever. But past that point, just knowing that you can control your blood pressure in the end.
Exactly.
Amazing. I think as we close out, I'm really curious to hear from Kidus and John. Like, do you guys have like one core piece of advice now that you've been in this that you wish you could give back to your former self when you were first starting? Like, what's one piece of advice or your biggest learning that you would throw back to your past self?
I would say take more risks. I wish I wish I had taken bigger risks, and I waited too long to say yes, I can do this, but by like making sure I could do it. And but then you see other people, they're like, well, they just started doing this and they're okay. But so I think it's, as long as you're willing to, put in the work to get it done, and you're building relationships and trust with people. Once you've earned the trust, people will pay you to do things. So like, I wish earlier on I had taken on more, and been less hesitant about it. That's all. John.
That's great. What about you, John?
I think mine's probably just a different way of saying the same thing. I think at the very top of this, some of the myths had a theme for me of just letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. Like, I just wish I had started things sooner. I kind of, let my perfectionism get in the way of just having a website, having a LinkedIn profile, and then iterating and improving from there. So just getting started sooner would be my advice to my former self.
Amazing. Well, y'all, an hour went by really quick, and I feel like we could have kept scratching at the surface and going deeper for a lot longer, but just want to say thank you for giving of your time, giving of your experience, your talent, your expertise. And we're huge fans of the work that you're doing, and you always have a supporter and a champion in us. And Julia, take us home.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank all of you, Amy, Kidus, Bryan, John, Jolene. I mean, I love all your stories, and you guys are all friends to me. So I'm just so proud of you all and what you've been doing. And everyone who's on the call, just know that they were once in your shoes, calling me frantically. Amy, like last Christmas, I remember talking the first time you were driving cross country, and you were like, I don't know about this. And we've come a long way. So you can all do it. And there's plenty of nonprofits out there right now that need your help. And you just got to go find them. So, of course, we did talk a lot about our community today, the mentorship. If you want to learn more about that, we do have a website, relatablononprofit.com. But we also, I just threw this up on the screen. We have Tamara, who has been in the chat this whole time. She's an amazing woman. She's also a consultant and part of our team, and she is available. You guys can scan the code here to talk to you if you're interested in learning more about joining our community. So I'll just leave that there for a second. But Thank you all so much for being here today. And I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving next week already.
Amazing. Thanks, y'all. Till
Thank
next
you.
time. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day.
Yeah, bye-bye.